Bible lets us know, and the reason why I'm bringing this up, excuse me, I'm kind of going back and forth, moving some things. Okay, one thing we have to understand, being God's covenant people, is that we can't do just anything. I know that you kind of think, oh, well, you know, this isn't a big deal. Yeah, it is. I mean, sometimes you might think it's a small deal, but no, not in God's sight. Okay? There are certain things He has set up for His people. And He did this for a reason, because a lot of us, we think that just because a person smiles and they seem friendly or they're nice, there are people that are so evil in this world that you can't go by that. I wonder how come you didn't come up. Okay. Let's see if we can get this to come up. See, we have to be careful, because God does not want us. We cannot do just anything, and we cannot follow just anyone. We cannot follow the people that are round about us that are not of our ethnic group of people, because they're not the ones under covenant. You are. He states here, okay, let me go up one, because this is talking about them wanting a king. It says, when thou art come unto the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shalt say, I will set a king over me, like as all the other nations that are round about me. That's our biggest problem, wanting to be like somebody else, okay? Being a covenant people, you can't be like everybody else. But it says, thou shalt in any wise set him a king over thee. This is God talking. Whom the Lord thy God shall choose. The Lord thy God is going to choose him. One from among thy brethren, your brothers, your Hebrew tribe, shalt thou set over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. Okay? Because he's not gonna look, you know what? A stranger is not gonna look out for you like your own would. Now, through slavery, we've been taught to be against one another, but that's about to change. We have been taught that if we do whatever the massa say, we get perks. We get to be an overseer. We get to whip the slaves instead of becoming whipped. We've sold out. Many of us have sold out, especially for money. I mean, getting that money as, for whatever reason, you're going to have to make a choice whether you're going to serve money or God, something temporal or God who's eternal. Okay? Now, he told us in Deuteronomy, we're not to have a stranger over us who is going to more than likely deceive us. That's just like that man that went over into South Africa. Next thing you know, he wanted to be president, and he's going to tell the people of that land who have been born in that land that they can't even vote. The goal of that man. And Mandela came in and had to, and they even imprisoned Mandela. So anytime you have a person that's speaking the truth and they're speaking up and exposing the truth and trying to help their people, you can expect that they're going to be set up, they're going to be looked at as a troublemaker, what do you call those people, terrorist, any kind of negative thing they can, just to try to steer people away from listening to that person. This is what will take place. But you don't fear that. You fear God. You keep your eyes on the Lord, because He will deal with them. Okay? And you're saying, yeah, but I don't know who they are. You don't have to know who they are. God knows who they are. Didn't we read earlier that the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good? There's nothing that the KKK can do that God's not watching and that He won't deal with. There's no human too high that God can't knock down. I'm going to tell you something right now, after I read this. It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. Why? Because when God knocks you down, can't no man lift you up. And when God lifts you up, no man can bring you down. It says, the Lord thy God will raise up among thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren. Of thy brethren, this is Moses talking, like unto me. And unto him ye shall hearken, ye shall listen to. Okay? So understand, because this is the God He's talking about. It says, according to all that thou desirest of the Lord thy God in Horeb, in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of the Lord thy God, neither let me see His great fire anymore, lest I die. Now see, the Israelites were afraid to speak with God themselves. So they asked Moses. They said, Moses, you speak to God and then just tell us what God wants us to do, because we don't want to speak to Him, because we're afraid of Him. He might, we might die. So it says, and the Lord said unto me, they have well spoken that which they have spoken. I will raise them up. Let me lift this up some. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. So it is of your brethren only that's to be over you, whether it's a prophet or whether it's a king. So we need to get back to our own land, because we will not be able to be in God's will and in His way here. Okay? We have to, and He has to be among our own brethren. That's just like the tribes that are over in African nations now. They are they stick within their tribes, and they marry within their tribes, and their leaders are always within their tribes. They don't have other people from other tribes coming over leading them. They have leaders, and they marry and stick within their own tribes. Okay? So God is going to help us with all this. Okay? So I just wanted to hit those two areas. But one thing you got to understand about people who will hate on you. Okay? God's got them too. Okay, you ain't got to worry about it. God's got it. It says, it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. Why? Because God knows your heart. Okay? Shall not God search this out? For He knoweth the secrets of the heart. Not only does He know the secrets of the heart, He is able to turn, to stir up hearts, to change hearts, to harden hearts, to soften hearts. He is able to affect the hearts. Okay? So, let's get back to where we were. Oh, I need to do something real quick. Yep, I just needed to take care of that real quick because I got a couple of videos that were processing. So, anyways, and so while those are processing, I'm creating other videos because my time gets so limited that it takes me so long to get through some of this, but it's vitally important. Okay, I'm going to get through, wrap this up, but these are the church, okay, church founders, okay. Now I'm going to have to zoom in and out of this because I didn't memorize all of these. So this one here is the Apostolic Church, Edwin Irving. Okay, I'm just going to leave it big like this. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I'll leave it big like this. Now, he doesn't appear Hebrew. This one here is the founder, the Baptist founder. He doesn't appear Hebrew. This is Catholic Church, where they consider this Jesus to be their founder, but he is in actuality Caesar Borgia's image. So we already know where that is. And this here, Christian Science, Mary Baker, founder. Matter of fact, did I say their name? Okay, wait, let's start over. Apostolic Church, Edwin Irving, Baptist founder, John Smith, Catholic Church, Jesus Christ. This is the image of their Jesus, but he's actually the image of Caesar Borgia. And then Christian Science founder, Mary Baker, Church of Christ, Charles Price, Church of God in Christ, Charles Harrison Mason, Methodist, John Wesley, Methodist Episcopal Church, Richard Allen, Mormon, Joseph Smith, Morning Star, Sanctified. I don't know, I don't have his name down, so I can't state his name. Okay. Mount Sinai Holy Church, Ida B. Robinson. Pentecostal, Charles Fox Parham. Presbyterian Church, John Knox. And Satanism, or Church of Satan, Anton LaVey. Now he's deceased now, but some of these may be deceased now. Oh, and then we have to go up here. Okay, and this is Seventh-day Adventist, Ellen Gould White. This is James and Ellen White. They were her husband and wife. They're all deceased, I'm sure, I'm thinking. James White, John Nevins Andrews, and Joseph Bates. These are the founders of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Okay, but the thing is, we just read where it tells you that the Hebrews, who this Bible is written of, are to have kings and prophets over them that are only of their brethren. Now, we know now that the Hebrew Israelites are the blacks that were scattered by ships throughout all the nations. We learned that. Now, he does not look like a black. He doesn't look black. He doesn't look black. Neither does he. Neither does he. He looks like he might be black, and that is the Church of God in Christ. But we know that Jesus Christ is not even a possibility. And this is another Caucasian, non-Hebrew, and I'm not sure this guy here, I don't know his name, but he looks like he could be black. This woman looks black. This man is Caucasian. So and then all these are Caucasians as well, out of Seventh-day Adventists. Now, we know that the Hebrews are black. We just learned that. If you didn't know that, you just learned that. And that's the covenant that... Okay. We looked at a scripture that told us about that his hair was white, with the texture of wool, white as wool, and that his skin was as polished brass burned in a furnace. Well, this is the color of brass, as we can see here. Let's see, I'm sorry. This is the color of brass. We have different colors: platinum, copper, brass, gold, and bronze. So this is the color of brass. Okay. Now, which of these images do you think look more like brass? I mean, he looks a lot like the image. He has, well, his hair is not as woolly. Well, his hair looked like he's got a fine kind of gray hair, but it's white. He's got those kind of reddish looking eyes. But his skin is definitely brass. The color that brass would be, or very close to brass. This is a brass that would be burned in a furnace. It's dark brass. So we know that this image is closer to the image. Now, he may be black. Now, what happens here? This is a feast of, this is what in Philippines, I believe, Feast of Jesus. Well, we know Jesus is not correct, but they call him the Black Nazarene. But on here, this says Jesus. Normally, they don't even have Jesus on here. But this image is actually the model image that you see in America, but they have colored his skin black. Look at the straight hair. The Messiah's hair is not straight. But the image is what they're looking at. The color is what they're looking at. I mean, this, you could see that this is the image of the American Messiah. They just colored him black because they know that the Messiah is in fact a black man. They know this in the Philippines. As a matter of fact, let me show you more Philippines. And not just in the Philippines, even in other ethnic groups. Let me go back and see. But I just wanted to go over the founders while we were there. Well, go over more than that, but other things as well. Since I did, let me see. Okay, I'm just have to pull it up on Google. These are images that that is followed. Okay. These are images that are followed in other areas of the world. I don't know if you were aware that as they worship a Caucasian image in the U.S., in other ethnic groups of the world, they worship black Madonnas. Okay? And there are so many images that Even the Pope worships black Madonnas over there. This here is a black image of Mary with the baby, and he's bowing down to kiss it. You're not supposed to worship any images, but I'm just showing you what else is out there. These are many images across the international states, and then you got blasphemous images. Madonna, like as if her name may be Madonna, but she is definitely not on the level of Madonna, of God's chosen person that He used. But anyway, it's many images. If you just look up Black Madonna, and you can also type in, I have written down a lot of areas that the Madonna, like now here you have them in Poland. You just have a list. Brazil. You just have a list of where you can find these black Madonnas. Okay, where they show the images of the black Madonna. Then you have here I can't even get this to come up. Okay, just pull that one up. And here you have multitudes of images of the Messiah being black. The black Nazarene. And you have to remember also that these people that are on fire about the black Nazarene, these are non-blacks. These are non-Hebrews. I wish I could pull that up, but these are non-Hebrews. But they have videos. If you just type in the black Nazarene, it'll pull this up. And you have many ethnic groups. Look at how on fire. And I have these images somewhere. But yeah, when you step outside of the borders of the U.S., you will be amazed as to what is out there. Okay, here is I know I have that. Let me see if it's here. And one of my favorite people, who will always be one of my favorite people, is this person here. Let me see if I can find her. Yeah. Awesome person. And it's, both of them are midst, of course, wonderful people. But she is one of my favorite people that has ever existed on the face of this earth. Because this woman, she, of course, was a queen. She married Prince Charles. This woman has an amazing heart. Most people in her position would not go to impoverished countries and interact. But you can see her in just regular old attire with a red cross doing service work for the less fortunate. And one thing that I truly admire greatly about Princess Di is that she was a major influence on her kids. She took her sons before she passed over into these impoverished nations and introduced them to people that they more than likely never would have ever met or taken the time out to come around. But I'm so proud of her for teaching her kids. This is one of her other kids. I can't say which one, but he is, he's an adult now, a young man, an adult now. And look at how he's interacting, how he's just down there interacting within the dance. His mother was a great impact on him. She took him around, and now he goes around, even as an adult when he wouldn't even have to. They are just, she is a tremendous impact. She was a tremendous impact on her sons. I think it's, I'm wanting to call his name, but I don't want to call it wrong, so I won't call it. But these are her sons, okay? And I just greatly admire her for taking them outside the box. Look at this. I mean, I just love this woman. I mean, when she was here, and even though she's not here, I greatly admire her. Greatly. I mean, I just admire her. My heart can't even utter how admirable I am of her. This is a princess that is just servicing the needs of the less fortunate. It just, my heart pours out. It just pours out. I mean, I'm almost in tears right now. I am practically in tears. But look at the impact that she's had on her sons. Look at this. I mean, she has her sons, you know, and this is royalty, British royalty. And I am literally almost in tears trying to express this. I mean, she is truly one of my favorite people. And I don't idolize people, but I just admire her so greatly, how she took her sons and introduced them to a people they never would have met, and cultures they never would have had any exposure to. And if they did have a prejudice against blacks, they don't now. They do not now. Awesome. She is by far one of the greatest people, because most people on her level wouldn't have even taken the time like she has. And it just touches my heart that she has such a heart beyond gold. And this is Michael Jackson. Let me see. I'm trying to clear my throat, because I'm really pretty touched. This is Michael Jackson. He did a video called Remember the Time with Eddie Murphy and Imani. Now, Imani looks like the Egyptian. She actually has Egyptian features. Michael, you know, he basically is shedding to light, or trying to bring to light, some things that have been hidden. So I'm pleased that Michael stood up and began to just say, and he even visited the African nations as well. Awesome. Awesome. Because you need to take time to go back to your roots. You know, it's an awesome thing that he was able to do that. A lot of us would love to go back and stay. When people tell you to go back to Africa, tell them, you brought me here, you send me back. As a matter of fact, send us all back, because we don't want to be here. No way. We want to go back where we belong. You've taken everything from us. You should invest in our education here to prepare us to go back to our own land. Oh, one more. I'm not sure what this is. Okay. Oh, this is his daughter. I'm not sure what her name is. But it's amazing how parents are such an impact on their children. It's amazing. And I am just so highly admirable at Princess Di. And I am so saddened that she's no longer with us. I mean, a great person. Okay? And it's not just them, it's other people who went and back to their land. This is Blair Underwood. I tried to contact him on, what was it called? It wasn't Facebook. I deleted Facebook altogether once I found out how racist that site was. That's not even anything I have a concern about, even as well as Yahoo. I don't even concern myself with racist sites because they can post negative things about blacks, but just a black telling the truth, they block you and all that. Well, you know what, goodbye. So I don't waste my time with racist sites, but I try to contact him on another site to talk to him about the things of God, and I guess he was skeptical because, you know, you have to be skeptical because you don't know who another person is on the other end of that line. But anyways, we didn't really get to communicate too well. I'm not sure. I'm thinking this might be Madonna possibly, but you have Caucasians that have good hearts, you know, and they do good work. And that's Michael again. I thought I had Oprah in here somewhere, and so this is Oprah here. So yeah, you know, if you can afford to go back to your roots, it's a wonderful thing to do. Go back, learn about who you are. You know, there was something else I was looking for. Okay, well, all right. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time right there because there's some things I had wanted to show you, but I don't know if some of these folders have vanished or what, but I should have had more folders. I'm thinking some of my folders are being deleted somehow because I had other folders and I'm not able to locate these folders, so that's really kind of strange. Okay, anyways, moving on. Now we're going to go to how these curses or how to reverse the curses. Let me get this real quick. My videos are just coming on along. And then I'll be posting these pretty soon, but right now I'm wanting to stick with scripture. Now we're going to go to Deuteronomy 30, because Deuteronomy 30 tells us how to reverse the curses. Okay? Deuteronomy 30 and 1. And we read something very similar to this earlier when I had made mention that this is how you reverse the curse. Well, this is going to say the similar thing, the same similar thing. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse. Because you got to remember, this was written before they even got comfortable in their lands. It says, when they come upon thee the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee. And notice he said, which he set before you. I've already told you in advance. And thou shalt call them to mind among the nations, whither the Lord thy God hath did what? Driven thee. Where he driven thee. It says, thou shalt call them to mind. He's going to bring it back to your mind. Among all the nations. That means wherever you are. Whither the Lord thy God hath driven thee. And thou shalt return unto the Lord thy God, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul. You got to come to him with all your might. You got to change your ways. You have to take off you and put on him. Well, just give yourself, yield your heart to him, and he'll take over. He'll help you with what's too big for you to do. If you have a drug habit, pray and give it over to God and just let him start working it out. You sometimes, well, let me just leave it at that. That's what I would do. Give it to the Lord and just start depending upon him and stop going in your way. Keep your eyes on God and start following in his way. Okay? That then, after you do this, okay, so it says that then the Lord will turn. After you do what we just read, that then, or after then, or after that then the Lord thy God will turn your captivity. He's going to turn your situation around and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations, whither the Lord thy God hath scattered thee. Who did this? God scattered you. He might have used these different people to do his will, like the Africans that went and got you out of the jungles and brought you to the slave owners to scatter you all over the nation. God did all that. They might have thought they did it, but they were driven to do it. But still, as a result of their actions, they still have to reap what they've sown. We all do. When we messed up, we got to be down. Well, they, just like with the Egyptians did God's will by holding us, our ancestors, slaves for 430 years. But when God brought them out, he gave Egypt a beat down. And when he brings us back home, this nation is going to have to give an account for all of our blood shed throughout this nation. They got to give an account for every drop of blood of ours that they shed. This is the reason why you have to understand that reaping what you sow is universal. Nobody gets around it. And it's coming back on some people 7 times worse than what they dished it out. Why? Because it's according to your heart. If you were ruthlessly and sensitively evil, you about to get it. But if some of the stuff you did, you really didn't want to do, you were pressured to do, but you wish you couldn't, but you were pinned between a rock and a hard place or whatever, and you felt trapped, you know, you wish you couldn't, but you can't get around it. Like the blacks that were beating other blacks with a whip. You think that they wanted to do that? No, they were told to do it. And if they didn't do it, they would have met consequences. So sometimes you're in a position where you don't want to do it, but you can't. You have no choice. So some of us is going to get it, and some of us are going to get it leniently. Because we did wrong, but we did the wrong because we were forced to do it. That can happen. It says that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity. He's going to turn your woes and your situation around and have compassion upon thee. Now this is something that is prophetic. It has not happened yet. It is up the road, and this is something that the Hebrews have to start preparing for. And will return and gather thee from all the nations, whither the Lord thy God hath scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the uttermost parts of the heaven, no matter how far you have been taken away from your land, no matter how far you are away from your land, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. He's coming to get you. You're going home. You're going home. And I'm going to tell you, if you don't go home, you'll wish you had. Because God at that time is going to be gathering his brood beneath his wing. He's going to be collecting all his people. Why do you think he's going to be collecting his people? It's because he's about to do something. And when he does whatever it is he chooses he's going to do, you will not want to be here. So when he tells you to come on, you better leave. You don't want to be up in Sodom and Gomorrah if he rains down hell upon the nations because of all the blood shed throughout these generations from the time that we've been brought over here as captive slaves. You will not want to be here. You will want to be in your land. And I'm going to be reading to you why you're going to want to be in your land. It says, and the Lord thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it. You're going back home. And he will do thee good, and multiply thee above thy fathers. Now, if they were as the stars in heaven, and he's going to multiply you above the stars in heaven, wow. Wow. Okay? And the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart, and the heart of thy seed as well. Now you won't have any more rebellious, stubborn, hard-headed kids anymore. Thank goodness. He's going to circumcise them to love the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. This time he's teaching us. When I tell you something, I mean what I say. We already understand now that we done gotten a beat down, or we're learning now why we have been getting a beat down. But now he's about to turn these tables around. But this is why you're not going to want to be here when God takes you back home. It says, and the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which did what? Persecuted thee. So KKK, payback's coming. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord, and to do his commandments which I command thee this day. See, when he perform all this, you're going to know that God's real. You're going to understand, like when he brought the Hebrews out of Egypt, they knew he was real. They were still stupid and stubborn and all that, but they knew that God was real because he did so many miracles that they could not have not known that God was real. Well, when God started performing these things, you're going to know he did it and that he's real. And the Lord thy God will make thee plenteous in every work of thy hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land, for good. This is why you got to get out of here. Because the goodies are not here. The goodies is going to be right back in your own land. You're talking about them diamonds and them golds. Wait till you go back. You ain't going to have to look. God will put it right before you. Why? Because that's your land. Your land is going to yield to you once these curses are depleted or loosened off of us. And all we had to look, we were kind of like the Wizard of Oz. Remember when Dorothy wanted so badly to go home, and she had those whatever kind of slippers, glass slippers? All she had to do was click them 3 times and wish to go home. She had the ability to go home all along and just didn't know how to use it. Okay, well now you have had the ability all this time and you just didn't know how to use it. Okay? Now you're knowing how to click them heels 3 times and say, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. Okay, now where Dorothy went home by clicking her heels 3 times, saying there's no place like home, okay? Now you know to do this. Thou shalt return unto the Lord thy God, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all your heart and with all your soul. That then the Lord thy God will do what? turn thy captivity, and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath scattered thee. Come back to the God of your ancestors. How do I do that? Go back and read the videos. Go back and watch the videos. They tell you what to do. They tell you where to face, how to get down. They tell you how to pray. I can't go over all that, but go back and review the videos, because I put that in there as we went along. I put that in there, okay? It says, and after you come back to the Lord, you and your children come back to the Lord with all your soul and with all your heart. Which Lord? Yah God. Which Messiah? Yahushua. The Hebrew God. The Hebrew Messiah of our ancestors before their fall, before their disobedience, before their enslavement. That's where we have to go back to. Is the God before our ancestors fall. Okay? And he's going to put his law within our heart to do it. But if you got a drug habit, you got to clean it up. Pray, give it to the Lord. You know, I know that you don't have a lot of money. God renders his miracles for free. How do I know? Because he has performed his miracles in my life. I know he's real. I'm fully confident that he's able to heal you if you just believe and trust him. When you get up out of bed and you stand on your legs, you're confident that your legs will hold you up. Well, be confident that God will heal you, that he will remove whatever those toxins is in your life and in your body or whatever is going on in your life. God is able to clean you up. I mean, I wasn't always walking right before the Lord, but he knew I had a desire. I had a heart, just a heart, you know, to help others. And he put that in me. He put that in me. It's not like I put it in myself. He put that in me. But he had to get me in a position and away from haters and deceivers and just dogmatic people. Because all they'll try to do is attack and sabotage and destroy. Well, we know that Satan comes not but to kill, to steal, and to destroy. Let's see if we can pull this up. It is so much book. Okay, let's go down here. Okay, it tells you here, the thief, which we know that God's people would not be a thief, because one of the 10 commandments is what? Thou shalt not steal. You got to remember that Satan does everything that is the opposite of what God teaches. If God says don't steal, then that's exactly what he'll do. Okay, the thief cometh not, but for to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. I am come, meaning the Messiah, the Yahushua Messiah. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. But we know that the thief, which is the devil, because one of the 10 commandments is not to steal. So if you steal, then we know that God is not in your life, because you're operating in sin. The thief cometh not but to kill, steal, and to destroy. That's something that the devil does do. Okay, now let's get back to the other scripture. I'm sorry, I should be in here. Okay, so we're reading about how God is going to reverse the curse. And the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee and persecuted thee. So that means that the tables are going to turn. And we don't want to be here when that happens. And thou shalt return and obey the Lord, and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. And the Lord thy God will make thee plenteous in every work of thy hand, the fruit of thy body, the fruit of thy cattle, the fruit of thy land, for good. For the Lord will again, the Lord will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written in the book of the law, and if thou turn unto the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul. All you have to do is return to the God of your fathers, not the God of this land. The God of this land has been a lie and a deceit, just as false as Santa Claus. For this commandment which I command thee this